Maung Pauk Kiang. Maung Pauk Kiang had been a student at the university for 3 whole years, but he had learnt absolutely nothing because he was very lazy. At the end of the course, the other students bade farewell to their teacher and returned to their respective homes full of learning. Maung Pauk Kiang also bade farewell, and the teacher felt sorry for him. "My son," said the teacher, "you have learnt nothing so far, but try to remember the following maxims of wisdom, which are my parting gift to you. If you walk on and on, you get to your destination. If you question much, you get your information. If you do not sleep and idle, you preserve your life." So, Maung Pauk Kiang left the university for his home, but when he had gone some distance, he decided to visit the wonderful city of Tagaung before returning to his village. Tagaung was many miles away, and as he had no money, he could not afford to travel by horse or cart. So he traveled on foot, and although many days passed and Tagaung remained far away, he never lost heart. At last he reached Tagaung and realized how true and valuable the first maxim was: if you walk on and on, you get to your destination. At Tagaung, he found some employment, although it was poorly paid. He spent his free time asking people many questions about the city. He soon learned that the kingdom was ruled by a queen, not a king. Curious, he kept asking why, and eventually discovered that the queen had married several kings in turn, but each one had mysteriously died in bed on the wedding night. Now, no one dared to marry the queen, though the ministers declared that the man who would marry her would be made king. Maung Pauk Kiang was grateful for this information and saw the truth of the second maxim: if you question much, you get your information. He boldly went to the palace and declared his willingness to marry the queen. He was wedded to her and made king. On the wedding night, Maung Pauk Kiang took the stem of a banana plant with him to the royal bedchamber and hid it under the bed. Pretending to sleep, he waited until the queen entered and lay down beside him. Quietly, he slipped out of bed, placed the banana stem under the covers to look like a man sleeping, and hid behind a pillar. Some hours later, a Naga dragon appeared from the rafters and slithered down a nearby pillar. Seeing what he thought was a man beside the queen, the dragon became furious and struck the banana stem with all his might. His fangs got stuck in the soft stem. Maung Pauk Kiang seized the moment and killed the dragon with a single stroke of his sword. The queen awoke and was stricken with grief. The dragon had been her secret lover for many years. It was he who had slain her former husbands. But Maung Pauk Kiang, unlike the sorrowful queen, rejoiced, realizing the truth of the third maxim: if you do not sleep and idle, you preserve your life. The next morning, the people of the city rejoiced to see their king alive. The queen, however, was furious. She bribed the servants to bring her the dragon's corpse instead of burying it. She then called a huntsman, swore him to secrecy, and paid him 1,000 silver coins to skin the dragon. Then she summoned a seamstress, also sworn to secrecy, and had her sew a pillow from the skin, paying her 100 silver coins. The queen herself took one of the dragon's bones and fashioned it into a hairpin. Later she approached Maung Pauk Kiang while he sat in council and requested a boon. "I grant you the boon, my queen, even before I know what it is," he said. "The boon," she replied, "is that you make a wager with me. I will set you a riddle. You will have 40 days to solve it. If you answer it correctly on the 40th day, you shall kill me. But if you cannot solve it, I shall kill you." Then she spoke the riddle. For 1,000, he was torn. For 100, he was sewn. The loved one's bone was made into a hairpin. Poor Maung Pauk Kiang. He had never been a scholar, and he regretted wasting his years at the university. He asked his ministers, consulted wise men, questioned everyone he met, but no one could solve the riddle. As the days passed, he lost all hope. In his misery, he even forgot to inform his parents in their distant village that he had become king. However, they had heard rumors and set out for the capital. On the 40th day, they arrived at the city outskirts, rested under a tree, and tried to eat their meal. Too excited to eat, they threw their food away. 2 crows, a male and a female, swooped down and ate the leftovers. "We have had a royal meal," said the female crow, "but I fear we won't eat so well every day. Dear husband, what will we do about food tomorrow?" "Do not worry," said the male crow, "for tomorrow Maung Pauk will die. His body, cut into pieces, will be on the scaffold. We will pick out his eyes. A king's feast indeed." "Why should he die?" asked the female crow. "Because he cannot solve the riddle, and the deadline is tonight." "You are so wise," she said admiringly. "Perhaps you even know the answer to the riddle." "Of course," boasted the male crow. "It refers to the dragon's body. His skin was torn off for 1,000 silver coins, sewn into a pillow for 100 silver coins, and one of his bones was made into a hairpin by the queen herself." "How do you know that's correct?" asked the female crow. "I watched the queen's chamber that day," said the male crow. "I hoped to peck out the dragon's eyes." "And what would you have done with them?" "I would have given them to you to eat, of course," replied the male crow. "What a loving husband you are," said the female crow, and the two flew away. Maung Pauk parents, who had overheard everything, rushed to the palace, shouting, "The solution! The solution!" The guards opened the gates, and they were brought to their son. At first he didn't believe them, but when they told him the story, he was filled with joy. That evening, Maung Pauk sat in council as the queen entered, confident that she would win. "Are you ready to die, my lord?" she mocked. "Or have your wise men solved my riddle?" "I will answer your riddle," replied Maung Pauk and gave her the solution. The queen trembled in fear, for he had answered correctly. But Maung Pauk was magnanimous. He did not kill her. Instead, he exiled her from the kingdom. Maung Pauk ruled wisely and well, and his people came to love him greatly.